Alright, response video to vegan foot soldier. No Brains In had also made a video response to this video, and then vegan foot soldier made a video response in return, saying that he was way too philosophically loaded to be understood by the average anti-natalist. He said that he used Kantian logic to prove that anti-natalism is self-defeating, and that therefore he debunked anti-natalism. Now, his video can be compressed into a few sentences, and this is basically what he was trying to point out. To choose to die or to commit suicide is to value not being able to value. If you are dead, you can't value anything. To want to die is to value not being able to value, and that is self-defeating. It's a reductio ad absurdum. It's self-contradicting. So now here is my response. First of all, what does this statement mean for a suicidal person? Are suicidal people contradicting themselves? Are suicidal people illogical? I don't think they give a shit. All they want to do is to escape their thinking, to escape their logic or illogic. They want to detach themselves from logic such that logic has no meaning anymore. They want to escape their minds. When you are at the final stage of extreme depression, where you are utterly hopeless, utterly sick and tired of every single experience that you are dealing with, then I don't think you give a shit about whether or not something is logical or illogical. All you want at that moment is to escape your torturing brain. You want to escape the thing that is constantly evaluating everything. It's not that they value to not value. They want to value absolutely nothing, including not valuing to not value. They neither want to value nor not value. So basically they value to neither value nor not value. And of course that's going to be a contradiction. It's going to be a contradiction as long as a suicidal person is alive. And the contradiction will only be solved once he is actually dead. And that's precisely the thing a suicidal person wants. He wants to be dead, literally dead, not conceptually dead, so that the contradiction can be solved. Okay? When you are actually dead, you neither value nor not value. And that's the thing a suicidal person wants. Whereas what you are saying is a suicidal person values not being able to value, but no, he also doesn't want not being able to value. He neither wants being able to value nor not being able to value. And that's the only logically correct statement to describe death with. And death is precisely what he wants. And yes, in fact, it still is a contradiction because you still value the absence of to value or to not value. But that contradiction is solved once you're actually dead. Okay? Get it? Or let me try another. Here's another attempt. Okay, so you say death equals not being able to value. But you see, when you are dead, you are neither able nor unable to value, because within death, nothing exists. Within non-existence, there exists no ability to value, but there also doesn't exist the inability to value, because the concept of inability to value is created within existence. And so that contradicts non-existence. It contradicts death. To say that death or non-existence equals not being able to value is in fact a contradiction, because the logical understanding of the statement not being able to value does not exist within non-existence. Logic does not exist within non-existence. Non-existence is the total absence of everything, including logic. So once you don't exist anymore, the logical contradiction of valuing not being able to value becomes utterly meaningless. This logical contradiction becomes completely detached from logic itself once you are dead. And so that's why a suicidal person does in fact not contradict himself, because within death itself, this contradiction undoes itself. Death itself is free from logic and free from contradictions, and that's what a suicidal person wants. He wants death itself and not the idea of death, not the conceptual understanding of death, because that will always lead to contradictive thinking. Okay? Conceptual understanding of death is contradictive, but actual death is not. And the same goes for antinatalism. Antinatalism will only stop contradicting itself once it has fully actualized the very meaning of itself, which is to become non-existent and to become completely detached from everything, including logic. And that's why it is absolutely impossible to debunk antinatalism, because the point of antinatalism is non-existence. And non-existence doesn't contain logic. It's separated from logic. So whatever form of logic that is used against antinatalism becomes utterly meaningless compared to the total non-existence that antinatalism is pursuing. Okay, the existence of antinatalism is self-contradicting, but the goal of antinatalism is actual non-existence and not conceptual non-existence. Conceptual non-existence is a contradiction because it is created within thinking. But actual non-existence is free from contradiction because actual non-existence is free from thinking. It's free from the brain. Free from the place within logic happens. Okay? Natalism, on the other hand, well, they also contradict themselves, but they will contradict themselves forever because they want to live forever. They contradict themselves because they want to keep evolving into more and more intelligent and perfect logical beings, yet they don't understand what perfection is. Perfection is equal to non-existence. Perfection is a state in which all problems are solved, in which everything has been achieved, in which all questions are answered. Perfection is the state in which there is no more need to do anything because you already have achieved everything. There is no more desire to solve a problem because all problems are solved. There is no more desire to gain knowledge because you already know everything. There is no more desire to improve yourself because you are already perfect. There is no more desire to seek for positive feelings because you are permanently in a state of absolute positivity. In other words, perfection is the state in which you desire nothing anymore. It's the total absence of desire. This state is the final stage of survival. Once there is no more need to desire perfection, survival comes to an end, and you will simply die and become non-existent. For there is no more need to accomplish anything anymore. And that's perfection. Perfection is the end of survival. All right? And a world of imperfection always contains desire. And that's the point of life and imperfection, to be filled with the desire for perfection. But natalism does not desire perfection, it desires endless imperfection. Yet at the same time, they pretend as if they do pursue perfection. And that's a big contradiction for intelligence. It goes against intelligence. The only thing intelligence wants is perfection. But they just don't understand that perfection marks the absolute end of survival. So natalism values endless imperfection, endless inequality, and of course, another thing is that life implies the existence of illogical people. So natalism also values illogical people. If you are a natalist and you consider yourself to be super logical, then the only thing you should value is logic. And it just is not logical to allow to allow illogic. If you are logical, you will fight illogic. So why would you want to live in a world where you will endlessly compete with illogical people? I mean, anyway, natalism is imperfect and fundamentally broken, whereas antinatalism is perfection itself.